think you might have been a chance to come back and pinch it in the last couple of minutes?
Oh no! Listen, full credit to the Dogs. We were beaten by a better side today. I thought if we'd have somehow got ourselves back to being close, it would have been a travesty. They were the better side on the day, and full credit to them. They won. I said before the game in media, if they were to win the midfield battle, the quality of their side in that space, that's where their real strength is, and that's where we've been reasonably strong in the last few weeks. But they were able to win that battle and gave themselves the better chance to have territory in their front half, and it was always going to be hard if we couldn't win that battle. And at no stage did we hung in there and tried our best to get ourselves back into the contest, but they sort of managed to have that ascendancy right across the game, and maybe it swayed our way a little bit late in the game. Pleasing once again that a game at 3/4 time that could have very easily slipped away to be a 5, 6, 8 goal loss. We were able to pull it back and put some respectability on the scoreboard and just lose by the 17 points. But as I said earlier, the better side got the 4 points because over the course of the 4 quarters they were the more consistent side.
You mentioned the territory. Were you pleased at how well it seemed like your backline really stood tall to you? I mean, when you look at the final margin, they really seem to play a really good role in sort of stifling the Dogs a bit.
Yeah, and they get two goals to Wakeman off the ball free kicks. That you argue whether they're there or not, but so of their goals, two of them are like that. We only have 10 inside 50 marks for the game, so out of 57 entries. So we were pleased with the way that we were able to defend, but by and large, when you have 57 inside 50s against you, you're not winning too many games of footy. So that was mainly around their control of the ball, uncontested marks. And we just couldn't crawl that when we've been okay at that in the last few weeks. So we've got work to do as a side. We know the progress that we're making, but just didn't quite play with the same sort of consistency through the middle of the ground as what we've been able to play the last 3 weeks.
Just on those Wakeman goals you mentioned, is it really frustrating when umpires, I guess, get sucked in by players that just really overdo it, and they pay like a 50 metre penalty and a free kick 100 metres off the ball pretty much? How do you sort of see it?
Yeah, it is frustrating, but the umps are making a decision on what they think they see, and so you just got to abide by what transpires on the ground. But when it's a close contest and goals are at a premium, they become quite costly. So we need to work out with our own players either is the contact unnecessary. There's contact that happens between players all the time, and what the umps need to be really, really mindful of is just how much their free kicks are getting milked when they're so costly when they're in that part of the ground.
I mean, if you determine that the contact isn't like warranting that sort of stuff, will you have a chat to the umps?
We'll have a look at them and work it out.
Yeah. I guess, just back on your backline, I think earlier in the year your defence did come in for quite a lot of criticism within the team as well, but it really seems like now Colman's coming on, Core's really becoming really solid as well. And Callum Dawson, those 3 guys they seem to really be working well together. And how do you see
they were under siege a bit today. It's 57 inside 50 entries, and they held up pretty well. But we just didn't have the game played on our terms enough, and it was played the way the Western Bulldogs wanted to play. They flicked the ball around. They liked the ball in an uncontested situation. They used their hands very, very well, and they used one another with uncontested marks in space very, very well. And by and large, we knew that going into the game, and if we could quell that, we'd give ourselves a chance. If we couldn't quell it, then Western Bulldogs were going to win. We're pleased that we're at least in the contest, and it was only a 3-goal margin, but bottom line, they won the game because they were able to have the game played on their terms more so than what we were able to play it on our terms.
How do you see the Phillips tag on Trelaw?
It's such a difficult one, isn't it? Trelaw doesn't have a significant influence on the game, so in terms of what Will's task is to try to curb the influence of a pretty dominant midfielder for him over the course of the year. Bontempelli we don't even know until he runs out today whether he's going to play or not. So, that whole speculation just made it difficult for us to decide whether we'd go to him as the tag or whether we'd go use Wilfield on Treloar. We ended up deciding Treloar, given the form that he's been in. Treloar's quelled a little bit in terms of his overall influence, but Bontempelli gets off the chain a little bit. So they're a hard midfield to quell because, if it's not one of those two, then it's a Liberatore or a Richards. They've got experience and depth through that part of the ground. So, I thought Wilfield did a good enough job on Treloar to negate his influence, but we plugged the hole in one spot and another one leaked elsewhere. So just can't cover it all, and that's where we're hopeful that our other midfielders would be able to step up in that space. And by and large, the last month or so, they've been pretty good in that area, but just lowered their colours today.
Did you predict Rory Lobb going back?
Well, we knew something was going to happen, and we thought it'd be unusual that they'd play their four talls. We thought it would either be Norton or Lobb that would play behind the ball, and they chose Lobb to go back there. And unfortunately, we just didn't have enough inside 50s to actually really challenge the Western Bulldogs' defence.
The growth of Tristan Cherry just continues. Another really strong performance today.
Yeah, that was a good battle with English, and he continues to be a real warrior for us in the middle of the ground. He's going to a lot of contests, and he's getting forward at different stages and kicking he kicked 2 last week and kicked another goal for us today. So that's handy that he continues to build that part of his game too and make him dangerous. I think it might have been 2 goals the week before, but against the Pies. But yeah, he's making some progress for us, and overall as a midfield they were better than us today.
And is Zach Fisher right? It must have been frustrating because he had 22 touches in under 50% game time at the end. What was the story with him? Was it the foot, I think?
Yeah, he just got a knock to his lower leg, which we think is minor. He was just hobbling around a little bit, and we had the sub. It's always a question in the coach's box that every coach in the competition is asking himself halfway through the third quarter. How can we get some run, particularly for the teams that are. It's probably for 9 teams in the competition rather than the 9 that are winning at that point in time. But it's just like you're always asking yourself, is there something we can do with the sub that might just change the course of the game? With Fish just hobbling around a bit, we thought we'd make the sub and get Dill Stevens into the game.
How's George Wardlaw going a couple of days after the mishap?
Yeah, I think he's okay. It's just so unfortunate that to get better in footy, it's a combative game that we play, and every time the players run out for a training session, they're at some sort of risk, given that they need to prepare well for the game. And he just we initially thought he just hurt his shoulder, but just complained of a bit of dizziness from the contact. And as soon as he goes into protocols, it's an instant 12 days, which, given it was a Thursday training, really unfortunate that he'll miss today's game as well as next week. So anyway, you just got to roll with the punches with that, and hope that the players, when they're put at risk, whether it's in a training session or in a game, just get through unscathed. But we just know that we're not going to get every player that avoids that, unfortunately. Good on you guys. Thank you.